mandal in the Telugu states of Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. Then the next would be the district resource person. This is the fulcrum team that works day in and day out at the granular unit of Gram Panchayat and then followed by Mandal. This team is continuously anchored, monitored, and supported by state team monitors. STMs, and each STM is responsible for a cluster of districts. Right now we have 5 STMs and we have 31 districts, right? Taken care by these 5 STMs. The districts are divided. And then on top of these STMs, there is project manager field, and we have him here with us today, Ashok, who puts in a lot hard work and lots of and to actually manage the team. It's not very easy because we you all know that we work with a lot of political tools and pressure and bureaucratic tools and pushing. So with all this is the structure we have. And this entire field structure is supported by the structure in the state. We have different departments in the state, starting from admin, accounts, HR, and IT, which plays a very crucial role in putting things together, the findings and the MIS and the websites and all that. Because whenever MOR says, I need this, we have to communicate like this problem because of this issue. And then we have other departments taking care of various other. And then this entire anchored first level. So this is pretty much the structure of social audit. Now I'll also quickly zip through the operations part of social audit. What do we do? We have an annual calendar that gets published promptly in the beginning of the financial year, and it's also shared with MOI. It's already there in the MOI site. I'm not saying that this annual calendar will be strictly followed because there are a lot of hiccups when it comes to grassroots level, and there will be some postponement, some critical programs, and some issues that comes up with the team and the state level. All this happens, and there will be slight deviations from the AM's annual calendar. Calendar per se is a commitment from our side saying this is what we want to follow, but the deviations are also taken into consideration. So this is the beginning of the process. Once this is published, then we have, as a part of following this calendar, each team comprising the district resource person for the particular district and block resource persons for the blocks and the VRPs, village resource person, senior VRPs, go to the particular block or mandal where the audit has to begin. So what do they do? The first day, we go to the implementing agency at the block level, mandal level, and ask for the records of NREGS of the previous financial year. So one of the things this is a little bit of a challenge, but I think with convergence with the implementing agency and a great support from the state implementing agency, we are trying to overcome this problem of delay in giving the records because we face slight delay in giving the records, and I will tell you why it is big deal for us because each day when we convert it into money in terms of resource fee and everything else, it's a burden. So we always request that when we are in the field, the day one, we should receive the reports. For that, we are also having a small monitoring thing because we have a great support from the state level bureaucracy and up above. So we keep sending monthly reports of where records have been delayed for one day, records have been delayed for 2 days, where records have completely not been given. And they have also thankfully issued circulars to the grassroots mandal level of that delaying reports will amount to action. So that part is getting sorted out. I mean, I don't say it has changed completely, but it is getting sorted. We are happy where we are in short time. So that is the first day business of getting the records, and then these teams, as the records are being mobilized by some of the members of the team, the remaining people We don't have an entire list of village resource persons. Why? The idea for Telangana, and I'm assuming it's for Andhra too, is that we want as many people in the villages to become part of the social audit process. Why? We have repeatedly noticed the social audit process, the participation in the process has given a sense of ownership and confidence among the youth who otherwise are very timid, not asking questions in the villages, not standing up for their rights and entitlements. We have seen this transformation happening among the youth in the villages, even people who are middle aged, right? Because otherwise you are very timid. You are always sucked up into the system of hierarchy, whether it's caste hierarchy or whether it's economic hierarchy. But this social audit process has brought the transformation. And our belief is that the transformation should happen to as many people as possible. Therefore, we have adopted a system of uh, taking in village social auditors fresh from the villages. Each time the team goes to villages, talks about what is the process and why they should be part of it, and enrolls them in the process. So once these people complete three audits, three cycles of audit, each cycle will come to maybe about 12 to 15 days depending on the number of gram panchayats in each block. Once these village resource persons finish three audits, they go through rigorous training of 4 days and then they go through test audits, after which they are qualified as senior village resource persons, senior VRPs, and they then become equipped to lead the teams in the villages. So there is a rigor that Telangana follows in placing a village resource person to a senior village resource person level where they get this ability to lead the team, write the reports, present the report in the public hearing without fear or terror. And I'm proud to say that that result has been interesting and still continues. So these village resource persons are recruited and a rigorous 2 day training happens at the block level for all the village resource persons. What is the training? The training entails what is NREGS, what is the process, what do we do as a part of social audit, and what is public hearing, how are the reports written, how are the issues seen, what is door-to-door verification, and all this is taught in 2 rigorous days of training. Then they are made teams, and then each team is sent to the Gram Panchayat. What do they do in the Gram Panchayat? They go and they do door to door verification. Every door is knocked. Wherever the door is locked, you have to write it in a report that there is a door lock. Otherwise, you have to go door to door and talk to people. And what do you talk? You ask from their basic rights and entitlements of the NREGS to the point whether they have received money or not, whether their lands have been developed. And this process we rigorously follow from the most vulnerable sections of that village, STs, STs, single women. The process starts from there. So this has been as a part of the act, and this is very rigorously followed as a part of social audit process in Telangana. So once this door-to-door verification is done, it takes about 2 to 3 to 4 days sometimes if the Gram Panchayat, number of households in the Gram Panchayat or number of job card panchayat is huge. Then after 3 or 4 days, there is a Gram Sabha that gets conducted in the village. The Gram Sabha is attended by the village heads, the people participating in the NREGS work. There is an independent observer, and all the findings are read in the Gram Sabha. Whatever findings are there that are diligently read in the Gram Sabha. And after MORD has pitted them into 4 categories. Our findings are read in the form of 4 categories, which is grievances, process violations, financial deviation, and financial misappropriations. Under the categories that are read in grievances, and grievances get sorted and ignored related with them. Because somebody says there is no job, then that person, an application is made and he goes to the block office and gets his job card done if he is eligible for that job card. So things get resolved there. And after all Gram Sabhas are done. Let's say there are 24 Gram Panchayats. After all the 24 Gram Panchayat Gram Sabhas are done, which takes about um, 11 to 12 days, then on the final day, they all converge at the mandal level and there is this public hearing. For doing the public hearing, a prior process of intimating in the villages, sending messages to the WhatsApp groups of different youth, farmers, everyone in the villages. This kind of communication happens about the public hearing because we want it to be a mass attended hearing because there's a lot of, again, I would like to use my favorite word, democratic dialogue that happens in public hearings. So we want that, therefore, the amount of information dissemination about the public hearing date and process is enormous. We spend some money in putting up the posters in all the significant points in the villages, in the mandal level, at the tea stalls, at the Anganwadi buildings, at the area hospitals, all these places the posters are put, and then public hearing is conducted. And the principal secretary sir very clearly said, some of the public hearings happen overnight and spill on to the next day, and the presiding officer is just sitting there. Maybe they take a tea break, a lunch break, a dinner break, and then they sit. They continue to sit. And this entire process, social audit process, happens not where people this in this process, the resource persons cannot go back to their homes for a period of 12 to 14 days. They are living in the villages, they are living in the blocks, and they don't get any prim and prime accommodations. They stay in schools, panchayat bhavans, and places of public nature, right? Because we don't want them to be seen as aligned with any political party or aligned with the implementing agency. They don't go and sleep in the field assistants homes, they don't go and sleep in the technical assistant homes. They sleep in public places, and I have been there, and it is not very conducive at all. I've seen how people are. I mean, they just clear a piece of place, clean it up, put some cloth, and sleep there. And this is the rigor they do for 14 days, month on month on month. 14 days, 4 days rest, then again 14 days, 4 days rest period. This is the rigor they go through. So they are with their families only for 4 days in a 4 days, maybe 6 days in a month. That's it. The rest of the time they are in the field. So this is the rigor they follow. And what happens is after the public hearing, when the public hearing happens, there is a presiding officer. Usually, the DRDO of the district is supposed to come. Sometimes the additional DRDO would come. But I don't know what happened in the initial days of social audit in Telangana. But now I see that, any decision taken that's written that is not acceptable, the social audit teams pounce like tigers and lions. They say, no, don't write this. This is not acceptable. Because I have seen that in some of the hearings, they write special inquiry or QC verification. So, one single question that the social audit teams would ask is, why do you need a special inquiry or QC verification when a rigorous social audit process has been followed already? There are two things. One, either you don't respect the social audit process, you don't trust it, or you just want to dilute it. So we don't accept that. We say just write recovery, penalty, as follow the SRDS rules. We have that circular. This is this is the mistake, this is the punishment. Follow it. Just don't deviate from it. That is the rigor with which, I mean, in all these years of doing these social audits, I think they get that courage and they get that confidence to say this is not acceptable. So I am so glad to see that the way we call it DTF, decision taken format. So on one side there are all these issues that are identified, on the other side they write, the presiding officer writes the decisions. We are still disappointed that in some cases, like process violations, they keep writing warning, 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 warning. And now we have a convergence meeting that is likely to soon, likely to happen between the implementation, vigilance, and social audit SAT teams. And in that, we want to say if a warning is issued for the same issued at least 2 times in a row, there should be some disciplinary action.
because there is no fun in just writing warning and leaving it like that. Suppose worksite facilities, worksite boards, or some wall paintings have to be done, and if it's not done, you cannot just say warning issued, because you cannot continuously warn a person and not see a reaction to it. Therefore, we are saying this convergence meeting should nail down what should be done after few reoccurrences of an issue. So this is going to happen shortly. We have, I mean, I'm so thankful that we have a very great state level team in the line department that's extremely supportive, and they have great respect for social audit and social audit findings. So this is what we go through. As far as the HR is concerned, I mean, human resource is concerned, and operational thing is concerned. And then once the records are done and they reach the state office, right? They are scanned and they're uploaded into MYD website. All these DTFs are uploaded with in long the evidences are also scanned. Everything is digitized, and we want to go more towards digitization and less use of paper, because paper is cost. Paper means post. Post is cost. So everything ultimately translates into cost, and we want to cut down on those costs. So that is one thing. Now I'll do this presentation. I'll follow the presentation so you're able to see. So we have 100% mandals audited. Some of you might be seeing like, no, there are few GPs left. I just want to bring it to everyone's attention that last year, in the mid or end of last year, with the new government in place, they have increased the number of GPs. You see, you get my point. I mean, they have divided the existing GPs into more number of GPs, gram panchayats. So we will not be able to audit them separately, right? Each gram panchayat, because these have incurred expenditure at the consolidated gram panchayat throughout the year. Only at the fag end of the year they have broken down those GPs. So we took a decision that we will not do this broken down GPs, because in the beginning of 24-25 they were a single GP. Now it has become couple of two GPs. So it will be very confusing to break down that expenditure. So therefore, if you see I know once I'm done with this, someone is going to ask me that question. So I'm putting a pointer ahead of time that when you see the number of GP, it's not 100%. That's a skewed statistics right there. Okay? Then so we have all the 100% gram panchayats audited, and thanks to MWD, we got 100% funds released. For the past 2 years, we have 100% funds release. Before that, it was like the last installment vanished in the thin air. And it's very difficult for us without 100% funds, because we operate on very lean structure. And we are actually, as far as funds are concerned, I have to admit we are walking on an eggshell. It's very difficult, very challenging. Then yeah. So coverage and execution. We call the social audit findings as social audit paras. They're uploaded on MORD website within 15 days of the public hearing happening and the records reaching us. Within 15 days, they're uploaded. Um, um, so this I have already talked about, right? Recognition, of course, we were awarded in 2015 certification quality of for quality management system, because there is a rigor that has come into the process over a period of time of repeated audits. So many innovations have happened where the MIS has been streamlined, the process has been streamlined. And now I think we are gradually moving, at least the goal is to move more and more towards concurrent social audit, because we have realized that once in a year social audit, the memory of the people is very thin. They don't know whether how much money they received previous year, what work they have done. It's very difficult for them to dig into it. I think actually the GB, we have a great GB now, governing body, and they have given us also a direction that increasingly we have to move towards concurrent social audit. So people's memory is fresh, and I have seen that practically. You go talk to them when they're working. You can say, if you work this much, you're going to get the complete minimum wage, and this is your rights and entitlements. They're able to easily connect in situ, in on site. They're able to easily connect, rather than 1 year later you're going knocking at the doors and saying, "Hey, last year you have done this, therefore this is this." So the ability to connect and their memories are also very fresh when you're doing concurrent social audit. But right now, we don't have any financial support from MORD for CSA, so particularly for CSA. So that is something I think MORD should look into to support concurrent social audits. Because what is social audit for? There are two things I would like look at it. as one is the money should go to the right hands, not the real hungry hands is where the money should go. And two, the money of the government, whether it's central government or state government, should not get wasted in the process. You want to, you know, plug the leakages, right? You want to fill up all the gaps where money is leaking from. This is what social audit is about. One is if it has to go into the wrong hands, you're talking about the rights, entitlements, talking to people, all this. That has to happen. The other processes, you're saving money for the treasury, right? So if these two processes have to be effectively done, I think going forward, CSA, concurrent social audit, should be the new normal. But we'll see how we'll go from there. And the other thing we are looking at it as digitization, increasingly increased digitization, for which we will come up with some requests with you, because we want consistent data downloads from MWARD. Right now, we are not able to develop some formats because there is inconsistent formats that are coming. We'll talk about it. I think as we go forward, there is that slide, right? Okay. So capacity building, I talked about it. I think I jumped the gun a little ahead of time. I talked about it. There is induction, there is refresher. The trainings are very, very rigorous. Actually, we have gender sensitivity trainings. We take sexual harassment and gender issues very seriously. In fact, we take it so seriously that most recently we have implemented a helpline also, and the helpline number stays with me directly. So I don't want anyone feeling intimidated in that field, whether a boy or a girl. I don't want them to wait for the audit period to close and feel intimidated and darke they don't have to stay. They can immediately call me and we respond at any time in the middle of the night also. That is a non-negotiable. I mean, we do that. And that number is shared in all the trainings that are conducted at the grassroots level. That is point number one. Point number two, in the latest GB, the decision has been taken that the POSH committees, or what we call ICC, is not only formed at the state level, but it should also be incorporated at the district level. So the reach is much nearer than reaching out to the state level. So this is another decision that we have taken, and we are in the process of forming it. So gender, personality, human values, all this training is given. And I also would like to tell at this point, if any person is caught doing this, the primary action is definitely putting them on hold, and a thorough inquiry would be done from the state office. We send people from state office because we do see there is some vested interest, right? If I am in the field monitoring that person, I have a vested interest. I might not have a good relation with that person. So we want to remove that element also. We want some state people who are pretty neutral and have nothing to do with field go there and inquire and give us a report. And post that, most of the time, the result ends up being they're getting removed from the system. We don't want any further hiccups by having that person in the system. They are directly removed. And in my limited period as director, 3 months, I already issued. I'm in the process, almost close to issuing removal for two people, and not for major things, but we don't want any small tumor also be setting in the system that it grows to a point where we cannot manage it. So that is how strict we are with the social audit process, and I think that process has been followed since beginning. Therefore, we stood the rigor of the time, the test of the time. Um, so yeah, so all this I told, math awareness is done. Refresher trainings are done repeatedly. And I also, from the from the director's point of view, we also do every month review trainings. I go to the field to do cluster level trainings with BRPs and DRPs because I want to be there in that context and talk to them. But STMs and PMs, they come to the state and we have a review meeting there. And we also have a lot of one-on-one sessions wherever that is required. That's the rigor, and we follow that practice. Let me know if I have to stop at any slide, but I'm moving through. Then there's a lot of so this is all record submission during audits. There is MIS-based data sourcing. Our internal MIS is being developed by Center for Good Governance, CGG. And anyway, I think in 2019, right? 2019 or 20, we got integrated with NIC. Till then, Social Audit Telangana had its own MIS. But in 2019, we integrated with MIS with some hiccups. But now I think that process is streamlined pretty much. Innovative practices, yes, we have a YouTube channel where all our public hearings are recorded. all our public hearings. That is the only evidence we have where our public hearings are recorded physically like this. And then now, in the past 2 years, we have this going into the YouTube for in the public domain for everyone to view. That is one thing we have experimented with to cut down the cost, because otherwise it's 2,500 per public hearing, where we hire an external resource person who can do the videography. Since I have taken over, I'm trying to see how we can use our own skills. And now this is giving me a great encouragement. I will sit with him, or my colleagues will sit with him, and then figure out, because we have some issues of the phone heating up and all. We don't know continuous taking of that videography. So we want to cut down on that cost, because it is 2,500 times 572 mandals. 540, it has increased, na? How many? 572 mandals we have. They have also increased mandals for us now. So it's 572 times 2,500 is what we want to save, and we hopefully will save. Then there is real-time field reporting. WhatsApp is always as a tool we continuously use, and there is a daily reporting mechanism. Yeah, all this happen. So we as social audit, we try to be transparent as much as possible. It's not as much as possible, as much as we want to. Maybe we are lagging behind in some aspects, but the direction is towards that we become more and more transparent and more accountable. And social audit department itself is audited by CAG every year. And we have to go through 6 months performance review by CAG. Every 6 months, or 6 months, right? 6 months or 3 months? 6 months. 6 months performance review is done by CAG. So we are beaten up. If we don't perform, they raise red flags, and we are fair and square answerable to them. And they don't close the paras so easily. I maybe social audit will close paras, but CAG will never close paras, because I've been repeatedly responding to the same paras again and again. So yeah, there are some challenges. Um, I think I'll wait for her, because this is a challenge I want her to know. See the chat. I'm waiting for you, because no, that's okay. I just want you to. I mean, this is something I want you to, be with us on this. The budget. I don't know how some states are saying we have surplus budget. My heart is sinking on that. We don't have surplus budget. I'll tell you one thing. Today, the money we pay for our senior VRPs who are leading the teams is 325 rupees as per day honorarium, which is less than the agriculture wage rate in this state. Maybe in other states it's that, but in Telangana it's less than the agriculture wage rate. 325 honorarium, and 175 is the DNS allowance for food. 175 for lunch, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's fairly insufficient. And if I really want to, from the bottom of my heart, to increase it by 100 rupees, like make 375 into 400 and 175 into 200 rupees. And these are the crux of social audit process, the fulcrum point, senior VRPs. And my financial implication is coming to 2 crore 63 lakhs 52,500, and I don't know where I can get that money from. So we are really running on a thin budget. I mean, we are underpaying the people, and they work for 16 hours a day, mind you. They are not sleeping, because they have to work repeatedly on the records, right? Because when you are presenting in the public hearing, you have to be very thorough. You cannot falter there, because the implementation is always there to say, see, you have not brought enough evidence. So they're working 16. I have been through the process. I've been through the social audit process. Therefore, I'm able to tell with confidence that they work with such rigor, but they get a pittance for it. And that is not going to work going forward. And I don't know. I brought this issue up with the GB, saying that unless we pay them, uh, we have to be we have to be good employer, right? We have to be justified employer. You cannot just pay pittance to the people and expect them to work 16 hours a day. So this is something I really request MORD to look into it, considering the rigor of the process. I'm telling you, it's not NREGS. Social audit is being done in Telangana across various schemes, and this is immensely benefiting both the people in understanding their rights and entitlement and accessing their rights and entitlements. It's also helping the governments. I'm repeating myself, I know, but it is also helping the governments, whether state government or central government, to save money. And if this is not the goal, this is not the direction, I don't know what else is. And for this, we need to invest in human resource. And we cannot exploit human resource. Right now, I'm telling, sitting in this public forum, I'm telling